everybody, this is Robin with Creative2xmom, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my winter reading list. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin and this is Creative2xmom. This channel is all about homeschooling, parenthood, and thriving in the day-to-day. And today I am batch filming several videos about really good books. If you have watched any videos on this channel, you know that I return to this topic again and again, whether it's homeschool books, read-alouds, things that my kids are reading, or just things that I'm interested in and ready to tackle. Today's video is going to be my winter reading list, and since I'm getting a little bit of a late start on the winter months, I have chosen seven books that I want to read over the winter season. Now, I narrowed it down to 7 because it's a little bit late in the season and because I am also a book reviewer for several publishers. And anytime I have a book that I'm going to be reviewing, I will let you know so that you just get an idea of where I'm coming from, but I will always give you my complete and honest review. But because of that, I've narrowed my list down to 7 so that I try not to overload myself. This still might possibly be more than I can get to. Also, make sure you come back at the end of every month. I will do a video reviewing the books that I read throughout that month, as well as the books that we read in our homeschool. It's usually our read-alouds because we always have a read-aloud going with the kids at night before bed. This is my personal read for the next couple of months. I'm going to start with, I have 3 here that sort of pertain to either parenting or homeschool. Books for me and those 2 genres tend to overlap a lot because I homeschool. Parenting bleeds into education, education bleeds into parenting. You get where I'm coming from. So the first one is actually called Last Child in the Woods, Saving Our Children from Nature Deficit Disorder. I just filmed a video about my 10 resolutions for the new homeschool year. And one of them was playing to my strengths and getting out in nature more. So I believe I started this book at one time, but it is really thick, and I will warn you, this is one of those books, it's nearly 400 pages. This is also one of those books that you really have to digest in small chunks, and so I don't think I ever finished it. I think that I'm going to try to read this one very slowly. In fact, we'll probably have it alongside several books that I'm reading just because it is very rich and needs to be taken in bite-sized chunks. I don't remember ever finishing that one. But I think this is really important. I think getting kids out in nature is super important, especially these days with all the technology that we have. I think there's a lot lost there, so I'm excited to learn from that one. I'm discovering I never thought I would be this way, but I'm discovering I really like nonfiction. The second book, this is a reread. I know that I've finished this one before, although it's probably been 3 or 4 years. Raising World Changers in a Changing World by Kristen Welch. She's written several books sort of in the parenting genre, but it's also her story with her kids and what she's learned through just teaching her kids to be givers, teaching her kids to be others focused. I remember loving this one at the time, so I figured it was a good time as my kids are getting older to pick it up and revisit that one. And then the last one, I have started this one. This is Parenting Teens with Love and Logic. Love and Logic has been a cornerstone of our parenting for a really long time, but it can be easy to miss the goal from time to time, especially when you have kids moving into the teen years. So I picked this one up from the library and I'm maybe about halfway through that one. So that's where I'm at with it. The next group of books sort of don't, I guess you could say they were just for fun. This is Home Sweet Alaska. I have started this one as well and maybe a quarter of the way through. Sorry, Sweet Home Alaska. It is a young adult reader. It's one that my daughter got a few years ago. The main character in the story, I think she's 12 or 13, and her family moves out as homesteaders in the 1930s to Alaska to kind of build a homestead. So it's sort of like the Alaskan version of maybe Little House on the Prairie. Pretty cute so far, a little bit more attitude-y, the Little House on the Prairie, but I'm enjoying it. My daughter got it and I told her I wanted to read it next. This is Troublemaker. This is by Leah Remini, and if you know the name, it's because she is the actress from King of Queens. This is sort of her story of leaving Scientology, being involved in the Hollywood acting world, and being involved in Scientology, how she was balancing the two, and sort of the downfalls that she found there, how she left, what it was like being a part of it, and what it was like being leaving. So this is a book that I've wanted to read for a while. My library finally got it, so I'm adding that one. The next two books are sort of marriage but also personal growth related. This is a reread. It's by Gary Thomas, and it's Sacred Influence. I cannot say enough about Gary Thomas's Sacred Influence, Sacred Marriage, and Sacred Parenting, but it's been several years since I've read any of them. This is how wives shape, I guess, what does it say? How God uses wives to shape the souls of their husbands. Really, it's focused on how God shapes the soul of the wife through her pursuit of God. And because of that, I'm going back to reread that one. And this one I have never read before. You Are the Girl for the Job, Daring to Believe the God Who Calls You by Jess Conley. This was a recommendation sort of in the dreaming big, going after goals category that was recommended by my coach. And if you're interested any more in that, you can check out my Instagram, or I talk a little bit about it here just as a health and wellness coach. This was recommended by my mentor, so it's going on my winter reading list as well. So that's it for my winter reading list. Don't forget to check back in at the end of the month and we'll see what I actually get read, because looking at this pile, it looks a little bit overwhelming. It was very different on paper, and now it's quite a stack. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you are reading and loving, or if you have any great recommendations. Probably if you're going to give me recommendations, give me some fiction, because that's a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.